Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to Explain 12. We're here at Sydney. We're flying up to Brisbane today. We're flying the BAE146, which is just an interesting aircraft in many sorts of ways. Tomorrow we're going to fly the 320. Two airplanes are about the same age, you know, not too far apart. They're very different in terms of technology. This thing doesn't even have a navigation display. I don't actually know how to be 100% certain that we're navigating correctly. I mean, we have Navigraph, so we can see from there. It's gonna be interesting. I have everything, I believe, set. I believe everything should be working and ready to go. We have the ground handling folks here. We can tell them to go away now. We'll get rid of those and those so that I don't forget. We'll start closing some of these doors. So we're flying as JetX, or National Jet Express, for Qantas freight. I don't know why I put NJT when it's NJE in the title. Let me just change that. The E looks kind of like a T. The logo is weird. This is, of course, before it was known as Cobham. We'll go ahead and close the door.
Cockpit, g'day mate, go ahead and show me where you'd like to fly now.
Maybe you should have done a daytime flight with this first, but whatever.
Ground to cockpit, toast driving up right now.
There's also a strange bug with this plane where the engines, if you start the engines while it's pushing back, better pushback freaks out. I believe it's the engine start that causes it. So we're just not going to start the engines until we're done with the pushback. It only takes a moment for them to rev up, actually, even though we have 4 engines. I think that's something BAE Systems, British Aerospace, did on purpose. But I don't know. It's strange. We can turn off the entry light all the way up there.
Doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
But yeah, I quite like this plane. At least as an interesting thing to fly every now and then, so I do want to fly it more often. The only problem is there are essentially 3, maybe 4 different types of flights to do. One of them is these Australian freighter flights between Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. That's basically all they do.
Connected and bypass pin inserted. Release the parking brake when you're ready. Alright, starting the push.
This is a vast majority of 146 operations nowadays. That's one. Well, I mean 5, I guess. The other one is firefighting flights. Firefighting airlines or operators have a lot of 146s for whatever reason. Third one would be there's one airline in Chile who has these. Antarctic Airways of all airlines. They fly out of Punta Arenas on a couple of routes, so we could do that. And then 4th is Mahan Air in Iran, and other small Iranian airlines have a few left of the 146s. Not the ever RJs, the actual older style 146s. And the fifth one is, of course, historical flights. There's plenty of historical flights we could do with it. Of course, I prefer to do flights that are less historic, like before COVID. Just before COVID is the best time, I think. I don't think it was the engines that caused the problems. There's something a little bit wrong with the better pushback, but that's okay. Now he's pushing me towards where I wanted him to take me.
Alright, mate. Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake. Alright, mate. Disconnecting toes. Stand by.
We'll start with engine number 1. The fuck? Start master on. Pew airs on.
Toes disconnected. Bypass pin. Yeah, it's removed. I'll give you thumbs up on the right and catch you next time. Have a safe flight.
Why isn't the engine starting? Brake fans are on. Yes, APU electrical. Wait, was it not pressed? I thought it was. Oh, well now it's starting. I suppose it was in the wrong position, even though I thought it was in the right position. It's hard to tell at night, especially. I'll quickly start up all 4 engines here. I have all 4 engines started up, or at least starting up. It doesn't like it when the air is selected on the ground. It actually wants you to have the APU on in flight and then shut that off once you get in the air. No. Turn that off. We'll turn continuous on. That's all fine. We'll stop the APU. Alright, we are ready to go. Once we get the flaps, we'll do a visual flight control check from out here. Full left, full right, full left, full right, full up, full down, full up, full down, rudder, full left, full right, full left, full right. I have the flaps at 18, and then, well, the trim I'll have to check still. Trim is 6.3. Now, where the hell do I actually see how much trim I have? Oh, here, yes. The problem is that it wants the trim to be in the green area. So now, of course, it's right. I don't know how this thing calculates the trim. Also, the taxi is so short, which is why I've been kind of dawdling here and haven't started taxiing at all. Because we take a right here, and then we take another right, and then we're on the runway. Alright, we'll flick the landing lights on. We will flick the wing lights on, and we will flick the strobe light on. Now we're really well lit up. I have those views, even though it's a cargo plane. QNH at least was 1013 a few minutes ago, but I say this still is.
Cabin crew, arm doors and cross check.
There's no cabin crew. I suppose on a real flight, cargo flight, the first officer would arm the doors before takeoff. I don't actually know how that works. We don't have the toggle button, do we now? We're aligned. We'll set the thrust to 40%, and then we'll set full power.
Speed alive, both sides. 80 knots.
Cross check.
B1, rotate. B2.
Positive rate and gear up. Flap 0. What if we throw on the autopilot and the yaw damper? We're gonna let the IAS increase a little bit. Now we'll climb on IAS mode. So we're direct to Ismum at this time. This plane doesn't bank quite hard enough. But you know, a 146 should be able to turn much steeper than this. Are the brake fans on? I thought they were on auto. Yeah. We're climbing at about 2,000 feet per minute, which is not too bad. Definitely keep this side on the legs page for now, at least. Oh wait, no, okay, so it is direct to Olsum. It just doesn't have the first line. Whatchamacallit it. The fuck? Do I not have this shit on? Alright, we're at about 9,500 feet now. No. Lower the pitch a bit. We're gonna start increasing our speed here. Yeah, might have been a bit too much. I don't want to stop the climb completely. I want to slow down the climb so that our speed will increase up towards 280 knots or so. Which should be about here. Oh yeah, I can turn off the logo light. Oh yeah, it's right there. This is quite an interesting plane to fly. It's obviously very different from literally everything else that I've flown. We took off about almost an hour late, actually. But that's okay. We didn't start the clock, but I don't actually know where the clock is. there's got to be a way to start the clock in this plane, but that's okay as well. I mean, I used to forget it every time, so pitch down just a little bit more. Well, apparently they're landing on the 19s in Brisbane. They're doing a reverse ops where they take off in one direction and they land in the other. Because truth be told, there's not much traffic there at this hour. Okay, we'll hold this IAS and we'll continue the climb up. We do have the altitude armed of 29,000 feet. Simbrief gave us 31. The plane refused to fly up to 31,000. So we'll cruise at 29. There's Sydney behind us. I'm very excited. Tomorrow the A320 will come out to toll us. Very excited for that. Today there should be a new update on the 346 coming out at some point. It hasn't come out yet from what I can tell. 330 was updated yesterday. The 321 and 19 were updated 2 days ago, and then the 340 should be today. And then tomorrow, of course, the 320 and the 320 Neo will be updated as well. Which means you're going to fly the 320 tomorrow. Don't know from where to where. I have no idea what liveries will be available. Biggest reason why I have no idea what route I'm going to do. Oh no, okay, so next up is MVUG. And then, yeah, we just fly along up the eastern coast of Australia for a bit and then we land. Not too long from now, to be honest. It is a bit of a slog now climbing, apparently. They say that this plane is a lot more quiet than other planes. And in fact, the cargo variant is called the QC, which stands for quiet cargo, or yeah, something like that. But the Q stands for quiet, which is interesting, to say the least. This thing really is slow at climbing. If I give it just a little bit more thrust. Also, I find it strange how asymmetrical the different engines are in terms of how much thrust they're producing. No, but why does it... It doesn't have to... Switch it over to vertical speed mode. I think I can coax a bit more out of the engines. We should be at cruising about 9 minutes. This is probably Newcastle. Yeah. It must be noise abatement, which is the reason why they're doing these weird approaches into Brisbane. I'm trying to do just tiny adjustments here, but it's not working. Yeah, these four are on the same level here. I'm surprised that there's such a big difference, like 0.1, 0.5 even. Sure, but it's 1.5. It's almost 2. No, it's almost 3. I was looking at this one and this one, but then there's this one over here. How the hell does this thing work? Now it just really gave them power. There's still quite a bit I have to learn about this plane. Some of it is interesting, to say the least. I mean, it seems to be working pretty fine. There's no major issues, at least. Would have helped if I would have done the first flight in the daytime, but again, there's not many flights. The real flight has landed on 19 right. Why? It's such a long taxi from there. He actually always lands on 19 right. What is the logic there? That's Sydney. I need to look at the Brisbane charts for ILS 19er rate. We're gonna have to do some vectors once we get to Lagab. Actually, what I'll do is this. And then we'll get rid of, I will do that. Makes it a bit easier. In real life, they cruised at 27. For whatever reason, this thing flies quite low. I'll give it just a bit more power here. I'll let it do the last 1,000 or so feet at an increased rate of climb, just so we can get up to top of the top of climb, and then we can retard the throttles back, and then we can increase our speed and then cruise. Alright, now we are just about reaching our top of climb. 28,990. There's 29,000. Now we can start increasing our speed. Of course, it's not going to like the fact that we didn't quite reach 29. Now we're at 29 exactly. It's fine plane, it doesn't matter the last 5 feet or so. I want to increase my speed up to about 250 or 0.65, or it's what, 0.66 or something. 0.67. We could probably go for 0.68, and then I'll start reducing the thrust. Something like that seems fine. Um, 109.3 is going to be this. Where's the button to change this over? Oh, it's here. Then the course is going to be 196. How much time we got? I assume this fuel is in pounds because we didn't even take off with 8.5 tons. So how can we have 8.5 tons when we land? It's just impossible. We have 4.7 now. I don't know how this thing calculates itself. We have 267 miles to go, which is about 1 hour according to this plane, which is not correct. Which is 1 hour according to this plane. Should be about 40 minutes. 45. Well, actually, I do see where it gets the hour from. It's not going to take an hour, but 40, 45 minutes it can take, yeah. It's saying top of descent is in, where the hell does it show that? Because VNav is confused. A little bit more thrust is what we actually need. I don't know why the hell it's not accepting this. Well, whatever. We'll start our descent when I feel like it. Alright, I'm gonna go do the pre-descent checklist now since there's nothing broken. Yeah, I'll go do it right now really quickly. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back after that quick idiot. Quick idiot. Nothing has broken so far. Our speed is still a bit lower than I'd like, so I'm going to nudge that forward just a little bit. We're actually following the flight plan, which is incredible. Now we're going to deviate from it here shortly, and that's on purpose. I did do a slight amendment here in flight just a moment ago, actually. Is there something in here that tells me the wind? For whatever reason, this thing doesn't tell me my ground speed or my... Well, I mean, it doesn't tell me that for obvious, but it doesn't... I don't think there's actually anything in here that tells me what the wind is. It does show me that I'm weather vaning a bit, so I have a crosswind. Of course, to be expected. We have a bit of a tailwind, actually. There's some other interesting bits about this. For whatever reason, the BAE146 and the Avro RJ don't have reversers. It can still land at London City even if it doesn't have reversers, which is impressive. It has that enormous air brake thing at the back, and then it has the flight. Oh, that's the flight spoiler things, the air brake, and it has the ground spoilers, which are the things on the normal spoilers that every plane has. It is a bizarre plane. I don't know why it doesn't have reversers. One would think that that would not be. I would have thought that that would have been fairly important, especially for a short field aircraft. But it has very, very impressive short field performance, considering the fact it doesn't even have reversers and it can land at London City and various other very short runways. What's the weather in Brisbane? We'll get that. YBBN. 14 degrees, QNH of 1019, 190 at 4. Not too bad. We're getting not too far from top of descent, you know, we're about 70 miles. I'd say 70, 80 miles out. There's some weather around Brisbane, but not actually at Brisbane. Shouldn't be a problem. Okay. We'll see what goes down here. But yeah, we're still closing in on top of descent. What are we going to descend to? It wants us at 3,000 at Osoko. I'll put 10 at first and then we'll go from there. Honestly, if the weather's good, we don't have to go through to Osoko or anything. We can, if we can see the runway, we can just do an approach like that. Of course, I have the ILS as a backup, but we could do a visual approach at night. Okay. Still at 29,000. Still not quite at top of descent, but getting very close. Okay. Nice highway going on down there. We have these this mod that makes X-Plane lights better. Hello Krakows, how are you doing? The whatever X-Plane night lighting mod. Q8 Pilot recommended it in one of his videos. And I like it. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. A little bit sick, but otherwise good. Okay, we'll get ready for the descent. It's going to be 10,000 I'm going to put in first. Is this an IRL flight? It is an IRL flight. I'm running a bit late. I took off almost an hour late. The real flight has landed. But other than that, it's real. Yes, the call sign is real. And it wasn't this registration that did this flight today, but this one's done it recently at least. How are we going to do this? We're going to, first of all, hit the altitude arm. Then we'll go here and we'll start hitting the pitch down and start throttling back. And then I'd say try to keep the IAS. It'll stabilize itself here. What's the transition altitude? I think it's 15. No, it's 10,000. Actually, we'll just go vertical mode at about 2,000. See, we can see Gold Coast in front of us right there. And from there, we should be turning left, or we will turn left. Plane wants us to turn left direct to Brisbane. I'm going to turn only a little bit left so that we can, because we have to fly to the north of Brisbane and then come back on our downwind. So I'm going to turn just a little bit left instead so that we don't have to turn left and then turn right and then turn left again and all that. They really have full analog cockpits. Maybe you're thinking of the RJs, but you think the 146s had it too. The original 146s, the first ones that were delivered, had completely analog cockpits. At some point, I don't actually know if British Aerospace delivered digitalized 146s, but airlines certainly retrofitted their old 146s with digital cockpits. And then, of course, the RJs all have them. And JustFlight has only modeled the analog cockpit, so this is all I have to go on. If they modeled a digital cockpit, I don't actually think there would be I don't actually know how much of a difference the 146 and the RJ has other than the cockpit. I know the engines are a bit different, but they're very similar. I can't tell the difference between them from pictures. And I usually can with most things, so I don't know. But yeah, it has an analog cockpit. Some of them do. Otherwise, this would be too easy. The RJs have different lengths, you believe. You think so? I thought that they were the same. RJ85, RJ100. Well, yeah, but the RJ85 is the same as the BAE146-200. The RJ100 is the same as this BAE146-300. So I think because there's 3 of each variant, the 3 different lengths go together with their predecessor. We're at 19,000 already, so this plane actually descended faster than I thought it was. Faster than I thought it would. No. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do that as our new vertical speed. You don't know? Fair enough. This is the Gold Coast airport right in front of us. Okay, then we're going to go on IAS mode. Not even. What I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the speed by decreasing our descent and by throttling up a bit. Since we can now increase the speed, this thing doesn't like to speed up past like 250 knots. It's very happy at 250. I don't actually know what FMS this is. This is not the typical Boeing one at all. It's kind of similar to the Boeing one, but... Well, I mean, actually, it is basically the Boeing one. But I don't know what the 146 actually has. There's a few different options. There's this one, there's a default one. There's no FMS, so I don't know how that would work. And then there's, I think... It might be the SIVA, the 4th one. I don't actually remember. From my memory, there's 4 different options, and this one's I think the closest one to what definitely a 146 today would have. It's just a bit to the left now. Is there not universal FMC like on the Q? No. This is the closest thing to that. Here's that night lighting mod that I was talking about. You can clearly tell here the difference. The problem is that it doesn't do anything over there. It's only here. It's only close to the plane. You can see Gold Coast Airport there. Just overflew it. We're getting quite close to Brisbane. There's someone who just departed Brisbane, but that's fine. Apparently we're landing on 19 right. Enjoy the rest of your flight. You gotta head out to school. Have a good one. Alright, see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Have fun at school. Or try to, at least. 10,000 snacks. 68 miles. I'm not convinced by that either. Okay, we're 13,000 now. We can't see the Brisbane airport yet, but we should be able to see it here shortly. Because of how odd this approach is, we fly pretty close and then we fly quite far out. To be honest, doing some sort of visual maneuver, for lack of a better word, would probably be the best idea here. We're almost at 10,000 feet. We'll get all of our lights on. We'll get the wing light on, the logo light on, and then the landing lights. We have these views even though it's a cargo plane and there's no windows. I think that's supposed to be the airport. Flaps 33, the VREF is 119. That seems low. Well, if it says so. $1019, I said. We don't have to do it on the other side. It's too far away. Okay, so the runway's right there, actually. Or the airport, rather. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually hand fly this plane down. We don't need to do a long approach at all in this plane. We just come in and land, basically. Alright, get the flaps to 18 here. I may have cut this one actually a bit closer than I should have. We'll lower the gear, that'll get a little bit of help for us.
Speed check disconnected 180. Select flaps 24. Speed checked below 170. Select flaps 30. Speed check below 145. Select flap 33.
Alright. Here we are, we'll fully configure. Managed to get everything set up well on time, and actually even a bit early. We're a bit over configured, if anything. We are a bit low. It doesn't let me select the glide slope, but that's okay. The flaps at full with the gear down and 3 greens. We're now turning the align ourselves with the runway. We got 2 whites, 2 reds. Bit low. Still a bit low. This plane really likes to descend if you don't watch it. Because we're going quite a bit above the VREF and it still likes to descend. Continue. It stops on a dime. Good lord. I barely gave it any brakes at all, and we've already ground to a halt, basically.
60 knots.
Alright, welcome to Brisbane. Stable approach, very happy. Good to see. This is what we look like, by the way, with all of our stuff extended. Now if we bring it all back in. Beautiful. Actually, yeah, we should have... the real flight made the one before. We probably didn't float it as hard, and he probably braked harder. To be honest, I barely gave it any brakes whatsoever. Alright, now we have to taxi all the way across the airport. Let us turn here and then we'll turn off these extra lights up here. Wing lights and the strobe lights off. Okay, good. We'll turn the entry light on now. Alright, then we'll taxi in. Does this thing still have the ground speed? Oh, it does. Good. You're telling me those are the taxi lights? They're brighter than the sun. Actually, I should have taken the very next. Oh no, that's a departure. Damn it, I think Flight Radar switched the departures and the arrivals around. It's not this one, and it's not the next one, but it's the one after. It's gonna be Bravo all the way down. Alright, taxiing. Taxiing nice and fast here. Yeah, I don't know why they don't just land on 19 left. He would have had a 5-second taxi instead of a 5 million-year taxi, but whatever. I'm not joking when I said this is a long taxi. I have to go all the way to the other end of the airport. We'll take Charlie 10 into this ramp here, the international terminal ramp thingy. And then we have the second to last gate there. For whatever reason, they use essentially... they don't use jet bridges, but they use like the stands next to the jet bridges. It's strange. After all of that taxiing, we're finally turning into the ramp here. $84. $85. $86. 86 Bravo is apparently where we're coming into. There's no line for the 146. I'll just stop it here. There we go. Shut down. All right, here we are in Brisbane. We can disconnect from the network and turn off our transponder. We completed the flight there. Get rid of all of this stuff. Alright, so that's going to do it for that. I'm an idiot, and I took all those pictures without the damn chocks connected. Not that anyone cares, but I care enough that I'm going to have to do them all now with the damn chocks. And we'll do one general overview shot from up here. No, we'll do it from the other angle so we can see the terminal. A desolate Brisbane airport. Now we'll close everything and get rid of those damn chocks that we spent all that time getting on. Make sure that cargo door is closed. And then we will do the replays. Not bad, a little bit of a float. That's actually the reason why this plane is so quiet, is because it didn't have the reversers, I think. This view is menacing. Get a bit of right rudder there, yeah. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. QF7440, yes. There's that. I'll do the other end of the runway, which is this end. Not that we're going to see much, it looks like. Those lights are bright. So these views, we can do them. And that'll do it for this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys in the next one. It will be tomorrow. I'm not going to do one later today. Yeah, it'll be tomorrow. 3:20. And then another one on Saturday at the 3:20 probably. Yeah, we'll see. I'll see you guys next time. And have a nice